Today we're at Maryville College, where they have a very nice facility, but the lighting in here is really, really bad. No matter what you do, no matter how good you are in post, you just can't make these pictures look good because there's mixed color and it's just a mess in here. And so I've always wanted to put lights in here, but it's a really involved process. And I usually use Allen chromes for this, which are AC powered, but there's no catwalk in here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually go up into the top of the stands, and we're going to put light stands up. We're going to zip tie them down, and then we're going to put the lights on the stands, run those up, and we're going to have basically the same thing we'd have as a catwalk, effectively. Okay, so the first thing we got is four 13-foot Avenger stands. Actually, technically there's a cupola in there, but the three Avengers, one cupola, they're all 13 foot. So that's a big beefy stand. It goes 13 feet in the air. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, obviously we have four FJ400 strobes, and then we have four sport reflectors as well. And then over here, you can see we have four pocket wizards. And so each of these lights is going to get its own pocket wizard. And then last and finally, there are the wires, mini phone to mini phone, that connect the pocket wizard to each of the lights. So what we're going to do next is I'm just going to assemble one of these and then kind of show you how it all goes together. Okay, so the last thing we got to do is we've got one unit assembled and all ready to go. All I got to remember is you never want to leave home without zip ties, because what we're going to do is we're going to climb way up to the top, and then we're going to clamp the stand with multiple zip ties to the top of the stands. So off we go. Now what you're going to do is you're going to see me walk. I want to be even with the backboard. I'm dead even with the backboard right here, and that's where I'm going to stop. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the unit off the top of the stand, because there's no reason to use that to have it connected while I'm putting the connecting this to the railing here. And you can't just do the top, you got to do the bottom as well. And finally, I'm going to put the strobe on the top. I'm not going to turn it on yet because we have three other positions to do still tonight, or today. But I'm just going to kind of get this one ready to aim. I'm going to guess at where it'll be aimed at, more or less. And then we're just going to leave it. And on to the next one. Okay, now that I have them all set and they're all built, I'm just going to go ahead and go to each corner of the court and install each one. Still not going to turn on yet. We'll get to that later. It's time to turn things on and get it rolling. So first thing we're going to do is going to turn the power on this unit, which is closest to me. And I'm sorry I'm having to hold this, the tripod won't reach up here. What I want to show you here is I want to disable all of the TTL. Yeah, this should read free. And then what you're going to get is you're going to get this little fraction here. This is very, very important. What we're looking for is 2,000th of a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise the power until it goes to, there it is right there. There's 19/13th of a second, and then 7.5 gives us 1/2082nd of a second. And that's where we want to test. If this can work here, we're golden. So we're hoping that's going to be the deal. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to set all these units, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn on the pocket wizard. And I set all these already for channel 27D, because that's like my little frequency. And I'm going to test to make this cord work. So make sure it works. And it does. If you hit the test button and it works, it means it's going through the cord into the unit, so we're good to go. So we sort of arrived at the moment of truth here. I don't know if I've got enough power at 7.5 because they go up to 9. So I'm not sure if I have enough power to overcome the ambient light or not. But what I'm going to do is guess at my exposure, and I'm guessing 400th of a second at f4. And you might say, wait a minute, how can you sync flash at 400th of a second? And it's because I have the A1. It's a huge advantage, massive advantage over everybody else right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture without the strobes and just see what it looks like in here. And that's a pretty good sign. So like that's the picture. There's almost nothing there. Now, what we don't know is if I've picked the right exposure with the strobes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the trigger on. So now this entire system will be active. There's a test fire. And now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to shoot that same picture again with mechanical shutter. Okay, and here we go. There's the difference. Now it's blue because I didn't set the white balance to daylight yet. So I need to set the white balance to daylight, which I'll do right now, because it's on auto right now, and like I told you before, it's havoc in here. So let me shoot this again, and there's a more normal looking light. So now I'm going to see if I can test. I'm going to check and see if everything is working. I got to see if they're all on and active. And I just do that by hitting the test button and looking around. So these both fired. And so all 4 units are working, which is awesome. So now I'm going to go, because I've got somebody on the court, I'm going to actually go shoot some pictures of him and see what my exposure looks like. Hey, if you're finding this video helpful and it's giving you new information you've never heard anywhere else before, give a thought to subscribing. And then once you hit subscribe, a little bell will appear. If you click on the bell, it will notify you every time I drop a new video. All right, so everything looks really good. And the good news is 7.5 power output on the FJs is plenty to overcome the ambient light in here, which I'm very, very happy about. If it wasn't, I would have had to raise the power of the strobes. And if I did that, the amount of time that they're lit would lengthen, which would bring in blur into the picture. So at 2,000th of a second, remember it's 1 hash mark 2082. So 1/2082nd of a second. At that speed, I'm enough over ambient light where it shouldn't sneak in too much, if at all, and I can just shoot the game. So now I know what my exposure is, which is really cool. All right, so where we're at is we are now lit, and the exposure is 1/400th of a second at f4.0, because I really want to use the 24-105, because it's like every lens that I could possibly want to use on the close side for basketball, which is the great freedom of using strobes. I've got light all of a sudden, and I don't have to push until, gazillion ISO. So it's 400th of a second, f4 at 400 ISO, 444. It's real easy to remember. And tonight, what I'll probably do is switch out between using the new 7200 282 version lens with a 1.4 on it for down court, because that gives me like a 300 f4. But I also might bring the 2-6 in here and just bump up the ISO a little bit and go to 600 and get some coaching stuff. It's really nice to get coaches really tight. They love it, and the media guide people love it, and all that stuff. So basically, I'm done. It took me about an hour and 15 to kind of do all this. But if I wasn't talking to you, I could have probably done it in 40 minutes. honestly. But anyway, I feel like I've got a good solution for lighting this place without using a cherry picker or a man lift or whatever. I think it's going to work fine. I wish the lights were higher, but hey, they're high enough, I think. And so what's going to follow is a bunch of pictures of the game. So I'll let you see what I shot, and I will try my best to shoot a lot of horizontals because they fit better in YouTube, but I'll probably sneak some verticals in there too, because basketball's a vertical game, obviously. I began shooting basketball with Strobes back in 1988 when I worked for the Palm Beach Post, where we shot all color slide film. And so most of the prep games we shot ended up being used in black and white each day. I began to use and experiment with Norman 200B strobes with special parabolic reflectors, and I'd set up 2 of these on one side of the court. Every game I shot ended up on the front page of the sports section in color, and I was hooked on using strobes for basketball. But so many people want to get good quality from photos in high school gyms that are poorly lit and small college arenas, just like this one at Maryville. The Wescott FJ400 units are multi-purpose and battery-powered. Once you get them in the free mode, they have conveniently given you the exact flash duration for each power setting in tenths of stop increments. For best results, try to always stay at 2,000th of a second or shorter duration. For shooting high school games, I recommend using the Wescott FJ400s because they allow for the fast enough flash duration, enabling you to stop the action that you're shooting, and they have the added benefit of running on the battery, so you don't have to run our AC power cords everywhere in the gym. Remember, you must use a long throw reflector designed for sport application to get the output you need to reach the court. In the case of Godox, which everybody seems to use, you can turn them down and get the proper flash duration, but you won't get consistent color. I like the FJ400s because pop to pop you get consistent and predictable results in terms of output and color, and the batteries last a long time. Remember that using strobes even in a high school gym will require permission from the athletic director or the coach, and liability insurance is a must. All right, so I hope you enjoyed my photography of the game tonight. I had a blast doing it. It only took me 25 minutes to break out of here and get in the car with all my crap and head home. So people think lighting is a big, huge pain in the butt. It's really not, as long as you have the right equipment. And if you're interested in talking to me further about what that right equipment is for you, boy, let me know what your questions are in the comments below, and I'll help you. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Pat Murphy-Racy, Sony Artisan of Imagery.